Have you ever wondered how some companies seem to know what you want before you do? Well, it's not magic. It's data analytics. And today, we're going to break it down not as some big, complicated tech thing, but as a journey. Think of it like climbing a ladder, where every single step up gives you a more powerful, more insightful way of understanding pretty much everything. So, let's get climbing.
So why does this matter? Let's start with a number that's pretty hard to ignore. $1 billion. That is how much Netflix reportedly saves every single year, just by using data to get better at keeping its customers happy. This isn't just some theoretical concept. It is a massive real-world lever that moves huge amounts of money.
And you know, it's not just Netflix. The whole big data analytics market is enormous. We're talking over $274 billion. And get this, on average, businesses that really dive in and use their data well see their profits jump by about 9%. The scale of this whole thing is just incredible.
Okay, so how do companies actually pull this off? It really helps to think about it, like we said, climbing a ladder. We'll call it the analytics ladder. Each rung represents a different kind of analytics, and each one answers a question that's more powerful and, frankly, more valuable than the last.
So, rung number 1. This is where most businesses are today. It's called prescriptive analytics. This is all about answering that one simple fundamental question: what happened? It's just looking at all your past data to get a clear picture of what's already taken place. It's the foundation for everything else, and honestly, it's still what the vast majority of analytics is all about.
And you've seen this stuff everywhere, right? It's the annual revenue report your company puts out. It's the dashboard showing how much stuff is in the warehouse. When you check your website traffic on Google Analytics or just count up the likes and shares on a social media post, yep, that's all descriptive analytics. It's a snapshot of the past.
But knowing what happened isn't enough, is it? It just makes you ask the next, more important question: why did it happen? And that brings us to the second rung: diagnostic analytics. Think of this as the detective work. You're drilling down to find the root cause. So, your report says sales dropped 15%? Okay. Diagnostic analytics is what you use to figure out why. Maybe a competitor launched a huge sale, or a bug in your app made it hard to check out. It's all about connecting the dots.
All right, here on the third rung, this is where the game completely changes. We stop looking in the rearview mirror, and we start looking through the windshield. This is predictive analytics, and it answers the question, what will happen? By using all that past data, plus some clever stats and machine learning, you can actually start forecasting the future. And this is where things get really, really powerful. You know your credit score? That's predictive analytics, forecasting how likely you are to pay back a loan. Banks use it to spot weird patterns and stop fraud before it even happens. Companies use it to guess which customers might be thinking of leaving, or, when a giant piece of factory equipment is about to break down, so they can fix it before it does. It's all about getting ahead of the curve.
And that brings us to the very top of the ladder, the final frontier. This is prescriptive analytics, and it's the holy grail, because it doesn't just tell you what's going to happen. It answers the ultimate question. Okay, so what should we do about it? It's designed to give you the best possible move to make that future you want actually happen.
Now, to really get this, look at the difference here. It's night and day. Predictive analytics might say, hey, this customer has an 80% chance of canceling their subscription. Okay, that's useful to know, but prescriptive analytics takes it to a whole other level. It says, to stop them from leaving, offer this specific customer a 10% discount. See the difference? It's not just forecasting the future, it's telling you how to change it.
So how on earth does a system do this? Well, it's basically a three-step loop that just keeps running. First, it anticipates. It predicts what's going to happen, when, and why. Then, it advises. It actually lays out a few different options for you and shows you what will probably happen if you choose each one. And finally, and this is the magic part, it adapts. It watches what happens, learns from it, and gets smarter for the next time. It's a system that's constantly improving itself.
And if you want a real-world example that will kind of bend your mind, look at what Amazon is doing with anticipatory shipping. It's wild. They use these analytics to predict who is likely to buy what, and then they ship that product to a warehouse near you before you've even clicked the buy button. The result? You get that package almost instantly. It's incredible.
And this stuff goes way beyond just selling things online.
In healthcare, it's being used to recommend the best treatment plan for a patient. In the oil and gas industry, it can suggest the optimal place to drill to save money and reduce environmental impact. It's even being used by police to figure out how to best deploy their resources to prevent crimes from happening in the first place.
So, what's the engine for this entire ladder? What makes all this advanced stuff even possible? Well, the answer is a single massive revolution: big data. Without it, those top rungs of the ladder would just be science fiction.
Now here's a fact that might surprise you. When we think of data, most of us picture neat rows and columns in a spreadsheet. But that stuff, so-called structured data, is just a tiny piece of the pie. The reality is, something like 80 to 90% of all data today is unstructured. It's the words in our texts and emails, it's videos, photos, social media posts, sensor readings. It's messy. And big data analytics is what gives us the power to finally make sense of it all.
To get a handle on big data, people often talk about the 5 V's. It's a good way to think about the challenges. First, there's the insane volume of data. Then there's the incredible velocity, the speed it comes at you. We just talked about the variety of all the different types. Then there's veracity, like, is this data even accurate? And finally, the most important V of all, value. How do you turn all that noise into something that's actually useful?
Now, with all this talk of machines making recommendations, it's easy to think that humans are kind of being pushed out of the picture. But the truth is actually the exact opposite. These incredibly powerful tools aren't meant to replace our expertise. They're meant to augment it, to make us smarter, faster, and better at making decisions.
And this quote just says it perfectly. A machine can spot a pattern and recommend an action, but it has no common sense, no context, no ethical compass. That's where we come in. Human judgment provides the essential guardrails, making sure that these powerful recommendations are used wisely. It's a partnership.
Which brings us to a final, really important question for all of us. As these systems get better and better, as they keep climbing that ladder from just describing what happened to actually prescribing what we should do next, we have to ask ourselves, how much should we listen? Where do we draw the line between data-driven advice and our own human judgment? That's a question worth thinking about.